Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to an afternoon live stream with Product Coffee and the Brave Start today. And yes, it is never too late to drink coffee. I'm Jason, if you don't know me, and I got a bunch of great folks in the studio with us today. We've got, and even remotely as well, we've got Jackie and Gabby from the Brave Start, and we've got Devin, who's here with Podium Studios and is also a coaching student of the Brave Starts program and has been running his own consultancy as well. We're going to talk a lot today about moving into a product management coaching or consulting career, and that is the whole point of this thing. The Brave Start and Product Coffee have an amazing partnership that is really putting product coaches in front of potential clients and bringing education, even better education into Product Coffee. It's a great combination. And as Jackie and Gabby are starting their next cohort, there have been a lot of questions that have been coming up from our members and from the larger community about what it's like to make this transition. So we wanted to get on and do some Q&A and kind of talk about this today. So I want to take just a quick moment and let Jackie and Gabby introduce themselves. And let's start with Jackie Flake over here. Jackie, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here. My name is Jackie Flake. I'm a product coach and consultant, but I haven't always been. I started my career as a product manager in the Atlanta startup scene. But after back-to-back layoffs, I decided I was sick of other people taking my career into their hands. And I had not considered what life would be like after the startup scene. But I decided to go out on my own and launch my product coaching and consulting business. That was 8 years ago now, and I've since built a $20 million business doing so.
That's just amazing. Yeah, 8 years to 20 million in revenue. That's amazing.
Yes. I learned a lot along the way.
There are a lot of companies that don't get that far, but you've learned some big lessons. So I'm glad that you're passing them along. Gabby, why don't you introduce yourself? And remind me where you're dialing in from today. You're in
Well, today I'm calling in from Orlando, but check in with me next week and I'll be in Phoenix.
Sounds awesome.
Where in the world is Gabrielle Hayes?
That's right. This is a fun game that everyone likes to play. Thanks, Jason. I am Gabrielle Hayes, otherwise go by Gabby as well. And I too got my start in the product management scene and started in startups as well, and had a very long career in healthcare. So for a very long time, when I did go out on my own, I thought I was only going to be a healthcare product management consultant. And how things have changed as time has progressed. And I'm going on year 3 into my business. But I have not quite hit the same figures that Jackie has, but I did successfully scale to 6 figures in my first year. So I feel like I too have learned a lot the hard way and have learned how to clean things up and really learn how to support my clients and build a business that I'm really proud of.
And you created a massive lifestyle change as you scaled your business too. What'd you do there?
Yeah, absolutely. I retired my husband. My husband became the primary parent, and we started homeschooling our kids and became digital nomads, which is why the Where's Gabby At is a fair question.
That is so awesome. And we've got here in the studio as well, we got Devin Smith with us. Hey, say hey, Devin.
Hey, folks. So I started my product consulting business about a year and a half ago, and I got my start in product back in my Wells Fargo days, and went into product strategy consulting, and so did that for many years before going out on my own. And I essentially decided, okay, I want to not only be able to help people with product management, but help them become better product managers. And so added a coaching element to that. Kind of fell into it. I didn't really intend to do coaching, and it just kind of happened. And then I met Jackie, and Jackie was like, you need to make coaching a legit part of your business. So here I am.
Absolutely. And I've been, a lot of you know me, I've been running Product Camp and Product Coffee for years. I've been a product manager to a VP of product management, and I've been mentoring people all along through my career. But it wasn't until just a few years ago that I started actually formally offering coaching and consulting services. And that's been just kind of a massive transformation, not only as a product person doing my job on a day-to-day basis, but the perspectives that you gain from, even if you've just got one or two clients that you're providing some coaching and mentoring to along the way, it changes your perspective in how you do your job. So there's just so many advantages to it besides the income. But let's just kind of get started and talk about what we got here. And by the way, if you're out there watching on YouTube or LinkedIn, say hi, tell us where you're watching from. And we're kind of monitoring the comments as best we can. And if you have questions, put your questions. This is an open Q&A. We want your questions. This is here for you. As we're talking about the Brave Start and what Jackie and Gabby are doing with the Brave Start, we'd like to make sure that you have an opportunity to really dig in and ask some questions about what this is all like and what this experience is like, going from being a product management professional, product professional, to being a professional coach. So let's start, Jackie. Talk about the Brave Start and what you're doing.
Sure. So Gabby and I started the Brave Start because when we were launching our independent coaching and consulting businesses, we had no help. We did not know how to go about it. We did not know how to get clients. We did not know how to market ourselves as a product coach and consultant. We did not know how to deliver high-value coaching and consulting. And so we like to say we learned the hard way. We fumbled a lot along the way. But through failure comes learning, which means it's not failure at all. And we've each independently built successful product coaching and consulting businesses. So we started the Brave Start to help other product professionals do the same and not be alone in this journey, because as a productpreneur, we like to say, it can feel lonely when you start your own business, but we're here to build a community of other product coaches and consultants that are at varying stages of their business journeys and support you along the way.
Awesome. So let's just get down to it. You made the shift. What's it like going from being in this place of being an individual contributor or a leader in product in an organization to now serving organizations and serving other contributors? What's that mindset transition like?
Yeah, now when someone is bringing you in specifically as the expert, that is how you have to carry yourself, and you're expected to know everything, and sometimes you still don't,
right?
Just as a product management coach and consultant. But the mindset shift is now I'm brought in to do a very specific thing, whether it is coaching or consulting. I'm helping my client get from A to B, and that's a very specific task or journey to take on versus working in an organization and growing a product and growing revenue and all the things. What about you, Devin?
So I think that let me make sure I'm answering the right question here. Repeat the question for me real quick.
So the question is, what's it like making that shift? What's the mindset transition when you're making that shift from being a contributor in an organization, doing the product management work, to becoming a coach or a consultant? And this is very different from being a product manager for hire on a contract basis. This is actually taking a different approach to the career. What's that change like for you?
So that shift, the interesting thing for me is that my background is design. I started out as a designer, as a product designer, and I actually I was always interested in the product side, and thought about it holistically, and they trusted me with that stuff more and more. I actually went straight into product strategy consulting. I went straight into that, and so I started with product in a consultant role, and then went in house. And so I did product marketing. I was a product management director for a while, and the shift in my mind is really realizing that you have to help people see the answer instead of necessarily being the person who finds the answer and carries it out. So you can help them find the answer, but you have to help them execute, as opposed to you being the one executing. Because at the end of the day, you have to think about what you're doing for people. You are helping them. You're helping them become a better organization. You're helping them become a better product manager. And you're going to be gone one day. And if you're focused on being the contributor, you're not setting their organization up for success. You're setting it up so when you leave, they're not going to be able to operate without you. So that was the mental shift for me, is I have to make sure that I leave them better than when I started, and that they don't need me anymore. That's the shift.
Yep. Howard out there saying it's the challenge of teaching them to fish instead of just feeding them. Gabby, how about you? Kind of tell me about some of your perspectives on that change and shift.
Yeah, hopefully my echo has slowed down, so I'll look for a comment from the audience to let me know if not. For me, I think one of the biggest transitions was a lot along the lines of what you're talking about there, Devin, is we're not necessarily teaching them things they don't already know, or we are not necessarily bringing in groundbreaking, especially for those of us who came from the startup world, right? You're trying to be that unicorn, you're trying to be the first out of the gate to do that. And when you get into coaching and consulting, that's not exactly what you're doing anymore. Instead, you're learning how to teach them to scale themselves as people, but also their organization. And how do they meet their customers where they are? And so a lot of times it was very hard for me and for a while to look at myself as just someone who was helping, right, to move the needle forward, but not necessarily delivering something specifically. And sounds like I still have an echo. I'm going to mute myself and see if Devin can help us.
We're going to work on that. But well, still, we may press through the echo a little bit as well. So just folks stand by with us and hang.
Should be fixed now.
Devin thinks we got it fixed, so that's awesome. So one of the questions that came in even before we launched is the types of certifications that it takes to be a professional coach. And so we can test your echo, Gabby. Why don't you talk about that a little bit? What kind of certifications do I need?
Well, you don't need any. So we'll start with that. I think I've heard Jackie say it this way, and I really appreciate it. If it's important to you to go through those courses, to have those certifications, by all means, you yourself as a coach and consultant, even when you're out on your own, still need professional development. So if those are going to help you feel more stable in your work, then by all means. But I have never once had a client ask me to turn in, what certifications do I have? What letters are behind my name? And a lot of it, I think, comes from those referrals. And I'm sure we'll get into that. I saw a question come in from Carol around outreach and finding leads. And a lot of it's because you're coming with this background ready that people have already vouched for you. And so that's really what matters over letters or a coaching certification. Yay, echo is fixed.
Yeah. So, yeah. And, one of the things, and if you think about this from a professional standpoint as well, when you're in the role itself, when you're in a product management or a product design type of a role, it's not, the certifications get you to a foundational place. But what people are really hiring as a coach is really more than a certification. It's somebody who can do things that they can't do, who has a perspective and experience that they don't have, right?
That's right. It's your experience.
Yeah, it's your experience, it's your perspective. And something else that I've found, I don't know if you've seen this with other folks, is people talk to me is they don't have time to keep up with emerging trends and new techniques and new capabilities the same way that we do. So they're relying on us to be that extra mind that can come into the room and teach them the things that they have missed in the flurry of doing their day-to-day work, right?
That's absolutely right. Being a product coach and consultant, having multiple clients, it's like constantly starting a new job, which is amazing in itself. So you're constantly learning new things, being exposed to different industries. Not only that, and technologies, not only that, we immerse ourselves in a large product coaching community. So we're constantly networking with other coaches and learning about new things and what's working. And we're able to take all of that knowledge and collaboration to our clients, which is a really special thing to be able to offer.
Yeah, I think that that's one of the things that I downplayed early on is I undervalued the value of seeing multiple things at multiple companies. The folks that we're working with, they're, maybe they've been at a few places, but they don't get the breadth of somebody who's on the outside doing this with a lot of people and seeing what's going on, hearing about what's going on in the industry, and having the inputs of multiple places to be able to say, hey, I see a pattern here let's do this. This is good, or let's avoid this pattern that's happening.
Yes.
This is bad. And that's the value that you bring, is being able to have that perspective.
Yeah. So I'm going to add to one of the questions that just came in here. I look at Marty Kagan's a great example of an amazing product coach who just does a ton of work across the industry and kind of a researcher as well. I'm not Marty Kagan. I'm not going to be that guy. So how do I figure out what services I personally bring to the table so that I'm bringing value to the kinds of clients that I can best serve?
Gabby, I think that's a good one for you.
Yeah. So, one thing when you go out on your own is you get to decide that now. So many times when you're working full time somewhere, you don't always get to decide what product you're building next or what industry you're in. And when you're building your own business, you get to do that. And you also get to decide what services you like to perform and which ones you don't. And that speaks a lot to this value of networking, because most of us in the Product Coach Academy are doing work together on different projects, because I may not be a design expert or research expert, but Devin is. So I may bring him in to help with that while I handle some of the more tactical work. So that's one of the nice parts too, is you don't have to know it all. You don't have to be a Marty Kagan. And listen, Marty Kagan himself is not Marty Kagan without SVPG. He has an entire team who are well-versed in certain areas. And so you get to do that as well. And it's one of the things that Jackie and I also talk about as a really beautiful way to scale your business, because you're also doing your networking, but you're also bringing in other people that you really respect, and you're learning from them at the same time that you're working with them. And so to me, it's the greatest thing. And I flip it on its head as well as a business owner. And I say, if I don't like doing branding or I don't like doing marketing, I don't have to. I can go find someone who that is their absolute passion. That's all that they want to focus on. And I can spend the resource of money with them over the time of me banging my head against the wall trying to figure it out. And so I think that's a really beautiful part of getting to do this on your own, is you get to decide what you want to, really narrow in and focus in on. And you also get to say no to things you don't want to work on as well.
Perfect. And so that's kind of the types of work that you do, the types of services that you offer. And that kind of leads into Mary's question as well. There are lots of different ways that you can provide this value. And so I'm curious individually kind of around the table, and let's start with Devin. What percentage of your work, what's the split of the work? How much is more formalized consulting versus what I would consider coaching, where you're working to help someone strengthen specific skills?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, for me right now, it leans heavily more towards the consulting side. And I wind up getting coaching through actually going in and consulting with somebody. But I am trying to push it more towards coaching people, because I can only stretch so far. So I'm trying to bend it more towards that angle. I would say that you'll find what that right split is for you. I think there's a lot of value in continuing to consult, because you're still in there getting your hands dirty. You're staying fresh. But there's a capacity limit. You can only do so many consulting projects at one time. And you will feel the need when it arises to start cutting off that and making coaching more of a higher percentage.
How about you, Jackie?
Yeah, for me, over the years, it ebbs and flows. Some years it's heavier on the coaching side, maybe 70%, 30% consulting. Some years that's flipped. Some years it's 50-50. And I do that because I really love doing both. Like Devin said, the consulting work is in the weeds. It's keeping me relevant, able to help my clients. And the coaching work, I just really find so much fulfillment and joy in helping someone, reach that next level in their career. But we do have product coaches in our program, the Product Coach Academy, that they only want to do coaching. And so that is the only offering that they give to their clients. And that's perfectly fine. And the same coin, we have coaches in the program that only want to do product management consulting. So it just it's more about like what works for you and what you enjoy.
How about you, Gabby?
Yeah, I'm similar. I think it changes in different phases of life too, whether it's what I want my life to look like or what I kind of see the industry in. Right now I'm finding more consulting work just because our industry is right in a little bit of turmoil right now, and everyone's just trying to figure out how do we keep moving forward despite where everyone's at. But I do think, as we start to see the industry slow down a bit in the sense of some more stability again, now you'll be at a place where you can start to coach and work with people on career laddering and what comes next in their careers. But the other side of it too is it depends on what you're focused on. If your focus is leadership and product leaders, you probably aren't going to have that much hands-on consulting because they're not themselves doing very hands-on tactical work. So they're going to need more coaching support. So I think a lot of that has to do with your niche and where you choose to really focus in on your business as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of exactly the opposite. I do mostly coaching and the occasional consulting engagement here and there to go deeper on something normally that we've uncovered during coaching and say, hey, I think we can help that at scale. So, but yeah, it's all over the place. So the split is really, like Gabby was saying, on the types of services. It's kind of up to you. Where do you want to lean, and where do your clients need you, and where do you feel like you can serve your clients?
Yeah, one more thing I'll add is that the revenue difference. When you're coaching, depending on what level you're coaching at, because that is also going to depend on what level maybe you held a position in.
Mm-hmm.
When you were doing product management. So if you had an executive position, that opens you up a lot more to being able to coach executives who are willing to pay a lot more. But I find that the revenue from consulting engagements is very high. And so, I tend to want to make sure that I have a good mix of those there, because the ability to bring in more revenue on a project is there with a consulting project. But again, it's a high time involvement. So you got to get the balance right to be able to do all things well.
Yep. So I want to hit. You talked about the revenue, and that's kind of one of the things that we've been kind of circling around. And there is the notion of income. Can I make money doing this? Is this something that I have to devote myself to full time? Can I go part time? And how do I price myself? And I think we should really kind of hit on all those for a few minutes before we run out of time, and then talk about a little bit about your 5 steps to launch as well. But so let's start, Jackie. Talk about, how do I price these services? How do I go about that?
Sure. That's one of the things I definitely fumbled through when I was first going out on my own. And I will say one thing that I think is very misleading for people when they decide to do this is that you start to compare the work you're going to do for your clients to your former salary, or maybe you're still working. But so you've got your salary in mind, and that's not at all how to price out your services. You're pricing your services and your offerings based on the value you bring to your clients. And so you might have a small project that, it'll help your clients a little bit, and then you price it out a little bit. And then you might bring, immense value to your clients from a coaching perspective, or helping them, develop a new product-led growth strategy that's going to result in revenue. And then you price that accordingly. I will say, however, one thing that we always see our product coaches in the Product Coach Academy, the one mistake they make is they always price themselves too low when they're starting out. And I did the same thing. But with pricing, just like anything else, as a product manager, you experiment and you iterate. And I did that over the years to get my prices up to the rates that I deserved, because I was bringing my clients high-value coaching and consulting, and that is worth a premium.
Right.
And I think Gabby is good to answer. What was the other part?
How much time do I need to commit to this to get the revenue right?
Yes, and the full-time versus part-time. Gabby, you've got a good answer for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did part-time and side hustled for almost 3 years before I decided to actually go out on my own full-time. And so you can definitely do this part-time. And I'll pick up part of this of Carol's question in the chat as well, is like, how do you find leads? Well, if you're doing it part-time, that pressure comes down off of you. You just start talking to your network. You start being really vocal about it on your LinkedIn or your social media platforms, wherever your place is, and you'll be surprised what doors open up. Sometimes it's just having a conversation, and maybe you're not the right person to help them right now. Or a lot of times they are not ready right now, but they're just curious around what bringing an expert is in. And so what I will say is, if you're going to start part-time, know that that gives you a little bit more cushion to play around with and do these iterations, because you're not counting on it to pay your mortgage, which is beautiful. But also you have time to flex and figure out, what's my messaging? What's my brand? Who is my target customer? Like, one of my, I'll say, biggest failures, even though I don't really believe in failures, I just believe in lessons, was when I first decided, I was like, all right, that's it. My side hustling was making more than my full-time salary as a director. I was like, all right, I'm going in, I'm doing the whole thing. And I was like, great, I'm going to be a healthcare product management consultant. And I went and spent $5,000 with a marketing firm to write all my copy, do all of my branding. And guess what? I never became a healthcare product management consultant. And so you have that beauty of like, you get to play around with that and figure it out first before you go spend that money or spend those resources. And then there's times where, like, Jackie's story, right? You've been laid off. Maybe the universe is making that decision for you, or you're deciding like that's the final push you need to make that leap. And that's beautiful too, because you're building a network around people who are going to help support you and help get you through those learning lessons. But either way, like, I don't think any of us do much like cold calls or cold outreach. It's really networking, our relationships, our communities. And I will be the first to tell you that, like, inbound leads is not the first goal, right? Like, you would wish it will, but it takes some time to build that up. But you hit this switch in your business where suddenly just the sole fact of you sharing the work that you're doing in public opens the door to inbound leads. And then you don't really have to think much around cold calling or cold outreach. So what I say instead is focus on building your network and be really intentional about it. If you are going to be an executive product coach, you better be connecting with executives in the product space on LinkedIn every single day.
Totally. So we've got about 4 minutes left, and we've had this URL on the bottom of the screen for a while, and the QR code takes you to the same thing. If you're watching on your screen, you want to zap it with your phone just to not have to type it all in. But tell me about 5 steps to launch and what folks will find if they go there, and then more about the course and how they can lean into the Brave Start as a course as well.
Sure. 5 Steps to Launch is a free course Gabby and I built to help product professionals who are thinking about launching their product coaching business figure out how to do that. So we have a 5-step framework that will walk you through in this free course. And we've also built a business starter toolkit for you, which will allow you to have thought starters as we take you through each step around how you want to build the foundations around your business. And it's just a really great way for you to think about how you would do this if you were to do it. Or maybe you're already started and you need a little boost. It will help you there as well. And I'll throw it to Gabby to talk about the Product Coach Academy.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Product Coach Academy is literally built on everything Jackie and I did wrong. All of the money we wasted, all of the hours we lost, all of the nights crying, sweating, all of the things. And so the Product Coach Academy was built strictly so that you don't feel like you're alone in this process, right? And we always say, as product people, we probably weren't having the greatest relationships with sales or marketing. We kind of were in our own vacuum. And now all of a sudden you are a product person who owns a business. And that's a very different role that you step yourself into. And so it is those things around, how do I package it? I see FP's question in there, like, how do I get loud about my networking and marketing while I'm still working? It's all of those things around, how do you do it tactfully? How do you do it efficiently so that you don't feel like you're burning yourself into the ground? Because it's very quick to do that when you're getting a business off the ground, because so many things need your attention. And so the Product Coach Academy was built all from those learnings. It's about 9 hours of course content around those things. How do you sell yourself? How do you market? How do you step into yourself being the product? How do you find clients you actually want to work with? Those kind of things. And then we do live group coaching sessions around what's actually going on in the world right now. So we know AI is a big thing. We've been talking about, how do you use AI to define your marketing and your brand? And we do a lot of hot seat coaching too, where someone can come and say, I'm getting ready to send out a proposal. I want an extra set of eyes on it. Like, let us take a look at it. Because otherwise, so many times as a productpreneur, you feel like you're in a vacuum. You just don't know if this proposal is going to land or not. And so that's a way to just get extra set of eyes, and just sometimes a good old, like, yep, you're in the right direction. Or sometimes you need someone to put you back on the right road, but that's what we're there for.
Awesome. Thank you. So it's 3:29. We're about out of time, but run over to thebravestart.com, hit the 5 steps to launch, or just hit the front page and look at the Product Coach Academy. and connect with Gabrielle and with Jackie to learn more about what they're offering and their experiences. Connect with me and Devin. We'll be glad to answer questions for you too. And check out productcoffee.com if you haven't already checked us out there. And join us. We meet every Wednesday virtually around the world to talk about better product management and how to really step your game up and be a leader in your organization. We do that as a community. And this is all part of one big family that's just supporting each other to do amazing things in the world and create amazing experiences for your customers. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. This has been really fun. Send us more questions on LinkedIn. Send them on YouTube. Send them an email, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.